Hello again, everyone. My name is Dr. Steve Vargo, and welcome to episode number 7 of Can I Ask You One Question, where we dive into the minds of industry experts and thought leaders, and we try to learn one critical thing from them that we can immediately apply to our professional and maybe even our personal lives. And I have with me here today the always charming and insightful Bill Gerber.
Greetings. Glad to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Thanks for showing up, Bill. So for those who don't know you, for those who aren't familiar with you or your company, Bill, can you just give us a little bit of background on you and your company and what you do? And that'll be a good segue into the question that I have for you.
Fantastic. Yeah, my name is Bill Gerber, and I am the founder and CEO of OMG and Contentlinq. OMG specializes in the design of optometric practices and the retail aspects of retailing optical products. We work with a lot of independents primarily. We do some work for chains, etc. Contentlinq is a digital signage and app development company. So we're working together as sister companies to really create a delightful optometric experience.
Bill, I think something that we've both had to do is pay close attention to industry trends and anticipate change. What does the future look like for the doctors and the clients that we work with, and how can we help them adapt to that future? So my question to you, Bill, is from a design standpoint, what does the practice of the future look like?
Great question, Steve. There is no question that technology has played a role and will continue to play a much greater role in the patient experience. I think it's important to look outside of our industry because we do tend to lag 10, 15 years behind a lot of other categories. Somebody just yesterday that I was speaking with told me, he said, you know what? He said, well, I'm doing $1.2 million on my optical. It's a $2.1 million practice. He said, I thought it was doing great, but then I realized that I'm probably leaving $1 or $2 for every dollar we pick up in my optical. How do we improve that? We discussed a lot of omni-channel approaches. In other words, I believe that the practice of the future that really thrives and succeeds, whether it's an independent or a chain, will be an integrated omni-channel experience. So what I mean by that is that the experience will start online one way or another, typically on your phone, right? Lifestyle questionnaires, education about lenses, the ability to do virtual try-ons, etc. And then when you come into the facility, that will be a continuation of the experience. So I think anyone who doesn't take that seriously now and start planning for that now is going to be left behind because look, I know my own personal life that if I make an appointment and I'm going somewhere for a couple hours, I want to make sure that it's efficient and that I'm getting to what I need to get to. And if I could start the experience, try on some frames, potentially tell the practice more about myself, what I do, and what my visual needs are, and then have that happen at the facility, then man, that's a real benefit and time saver. And also, I believe it really helps you to spend the money you need to spend to have perfect vision during all your waking hours.
So when I hear you say that, it sounds exciting to me, but it's interesting. You mentioned the word lag, and I had that in my thought as I was asking the question: the leaders versus the laggards, and a lot of practices, I think it's fair to say, do lag when it comes to these emerging trends and changes. Why is that? Is it just a lack of knowledge on these trends, what needs to be done? Is it a lack of motivation and wanting to invest on the business side of things? I'm curious what your perspective on that.
I think that's a great question as well. So And I think the answer is different depending on who you are and where you're at in your career, honestly. But frankly, I put a lot of it to what I call the other thing syndrome, right? And the other thing is that other thing that I have to think about, which sometimes feels like a ton of bricks on your back, right? That, oh my gosh, I have to think about how do people try glasses on virtually before they visit? How do I even do that? You know, I'm trying to manage having Tina and Tom out sick and somebody on maternity leave and all these things, right? So there's just this other thing. So I think it's hard, right? To innovate is hard, and it takes time and it takes dedication. I think a lot of the laggards are those who are so busy doing exams that they don't have time or make time to focus on being the CEO
Mhm.
of their business.
Yeah. So fortunately, this is what you help doctors with. So what, how would somebody get in touch with you, Bill? Thanks for stepping out. Like I said, we keep this short. It's because, can I ask you one question? I'm guessing that a lot of doctors out there probably have a lot more questions they might want to ask you. How would somebody contact you or find out more about your company?
Sure. So they can reach out anytime to us at OMG Contentlinq. They can call us. They can go on omghome.net. There's a contact button there. There's some cool tools as well, project planners. And there's a merchandising assessment that we put together as well on our website. And it's in the engage section, upper right, that allows an ECP to go on and kind of give themselves a score on 9 crucial topics like lighting, omni-channel, digital interactive, frame displays, communication in multiple pair, selling strategies, etc. So those are different ways to engage. And we're always up for just a nice Zoom call and a conversation with anyone. I wanted to give a couple examples, if I could, about
Absolutely.
some of what we think is really store of the future. And the cool part right now, Steve, is I think a lot of the store of the future, quote unquote, is available today.
Mhm.
And this is what's really excited me and my team right now, is knowing that the technology is there, the fixturing and manufacturing of elements for locations is there. So I think rather than wait for the future to evolve, you know, if I was an ECP, I would take advantage of it now. So I'm going to show you a couple examples of things that have transpired in the last year. So this is Family Vision Care. I'll move out of the way so you can kind of see the rendering here. But this was, you know, designed for a post-pandemic world or during pandemic world. You know, how do you take an open concept practice and then create some distancing and some protection? So I think you're going to see, you know, the elimination of the waiting room as we've known it. That is already happening. We're really happy to see that, because it's not just safe from a distancing standpoint, but also really smart from a business standpoint. You're also seeing a lot of elements, right? I'm going to show you this one. This is Helena Baleris, Dr. Helena Baleris' practice in beautiful Spokane Valley, Washington. Here's the actual practice so we go from rendering to actual. And you're seeing a lot of elements, I think, that you know, soften the tech. So in this particular practice, she has all sorts of digital screens by Contentlinq, cool fixtures, great lighting, but also elements like, you know, a really cool fireplace that burns cold. How does that happen? That's a whole different thing. She's got water elements in it, digital signage throughout. So you're seeing a lot of that. And then you're also seeing, this is Iron Horse Optometric up in beautiful Dublin, California. This is a practice expansion where they effectively doubled their space. And you notice here, and again, I'll move out of the way a little bit, but you notice a lot of openness, right? Openness, you have digital interactive going on. You've got all sorts of space for people. And I think that's really important. I think the other thing you're seeing, you're going to be seeing a lot more in the store of the future, so to speak, is privacy areas, recognizing the fact that 80% in some cases of people are introverts, with the average being 65% of the population being introverted. Why build a space that is only appealing to the 35% extroverts?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're going to be seeing a lot of that. And then also, last but not least, this is Al and I in beautiful Allen, Texas. You're seeing a lot of return to more traditional elements. So we're going future, not everything's all super high tech. But you're seeing, you know, warm, comforting elements. Seeing a lot of branding as well, and again, more and more digital. So lots of things happening right now. It's a very exciting time. And last but not least, you're seeing, I think, in the store of the future, seeing a lot more branding. You're seeing a lot more digital. And I think 2021 will probably be the year that we see the death of the frame board as we know it. So those are a few things that
Yeah,
we're definitely seeing.
I love the, you know, even with that first picture, I was looking at the couches. I love that mix of digital with the warmth. You used a word on your LinkedIn page, fidgetal environment. I assume that's not a misspelling, but that physical environment with the digital.
No.
Yeah, with the digital. But I mean, even just looking at those pictures, as I try to put my, you know, look at that through the mind of the consumer, and it would make me not want to go somewhere else. It would make me interested to want to see what's there. And it just jumps. There's the novelty value. Just looking at that screen behind you, that novelty that makes someone want to peel back the layers a little bit more. So, you know, that it's why I'm interested in what you had to say on the topic of what do we, you know, how do we look at design in the future? And like you said, maybe the future is here, to start putting thought into what do I need my practice to look like now, so I'm able to keep people in store wanting to see what I have to offer, and not just trying to be a cookie cutter model like everyone else, where it's real easy just to walk out the door and look at price as a major factor.
Absolutely. I had somebody contact me the other day who was really happy that they they went from a 48% to a 63% capture rate. But he wasn't happy. He was happy that they had achieved that milestone, but he said, you know what? That's still almost a majority of people walking out the door after they get an exam here. So I'd like to look at capture rate, like in different terms. So to think of people walking out the door, that's kind of an abuse of them, right? And their time. So if we haven't done a good enough job to communicate why you're going to want to stay and buy your materials at that practice, that's an inconvenience. And it's a little bit abusive, honestly, on the part of the practice, in my humble opinion, towards the patient, because we need to do everything we can to help complete the continuity of care for the individual and help them stay within the practice where they got their exam. So I think there's the winners will have 80+% capture rates, you know, be engaged in an omni-channel way, not just pre-appointment, but post-appointment, to offer the ability to buy frames and lenses and other items with the touch of a button on their phone. You know, like, I like these crystal frames, right? So why not make it super easy for me to buy these as a sunglass or buy a backup pair without having to come in, right? You got my measurements, you got my RX, why not? So I think the future's looks really, really bright for our profession, both really on the independent side. I see so many independents just thriving. And we see a lot of chains making advancements too. So future looks very bright for experiential optometry practices. For those who aren't providing a great experience, I don't think the future looks bright at all.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think if, you know, for the practices that are willing to invest into their practice and into that future, it's exciting. You know, let's make it exciting again. And, you know, I do think there are bright things ahead. But yeah, for those not willing to put the time and effort into creating something that will work in the years ahead, it's probably not going to be easy. The future may not be easy for some of those practices.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's it's a great time for those who want to put in the time, effort, money into creating an experience go for it, right? All the tools are there. You know, like what you're looking at behind me, to do this even 10 years ago would have been cost prohibitive to anyone but very big companies. Today, you can do this for the same price that you would have spent just to do fixtures. So it's huge amounts of opportunity to create a wow and a live experience with technology, you know, minimal fixturing, great branding, and the like. So it's the time is now for the future of optometry.
Thanks so much, Bill. Yeah, reach out to Bill if you have any questions. Bill is happy to talk with you and look into his company. And I know working with you directly, and now you're working with on some things with iDoc. Bill's the real deal. So
Thank you.
So there he is. Reach out, talk to him, pick his brain.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate everybody. Thank you, iDoc, for all you do. You guys are amazing. And thank you, Steve, for being such a positive voice in our industry.
Likewise. Thank you, Bill.